Hey guys, so I finished Dark Souls a few weeks ago. I wanted to talk about this game. I've been wanting to talk about games, FromSoft games for a long time, but I just don't have the time right now to, script and like put my full-fledged thoughts out there. So I just thought, you know what, let's just do a quick tier list video of the bosses in Dark Souls 1. So I think let's just get to it. So first up is Asylum Demon. So Asylum Demon is the D tier boss because there is really nothing to Asylum Demon. You can just stick to his ass and it's just a really easy boss, and it doesn't really offer anything else. The Asylum Demon is like okay for a tutorial boss, it gets the message across, but fighting him doesn't really like make me feel anything. So next up we have the Bell Gargoyles. The Bell Gargoyles are probably an A tier boss because I still remember the first time I fought the Bell Gargoyles. It took me 6 hours just to defeat them, and even on subsequent playthroughs where I know what to do, the Bell Gargoyles still seem like a good boss because from what memory serves, the gargoyle like has good positioning, so there isn't really a way you can just stick to one side of his body and he won't be able to attack you, from what I remember at least. uh, because this time I beat him too quick, so there wasn't really time for me to analyze the boss fight. But from what I remember, the gargoyles are like just a really good boss fight. The first gargoyle has like really good attack patterns, and it can fuck you up really badly if you don't pay attention. And especially with the second gargoyle coming, you need to defeat the first one quick, or you need to be really careful and play the patient game while juggling both of them. The second one spams fire, but I guess that's okay because like he's there for like making you really patient about your positioning, so you can't just willy-nilly attack the other gargoyle. So I honestly think it's a A tier boss fight because it's just good, and especially as like the third boss, probably the first major boss, it is a really good stopgap, I should say, for like players who haven't really delved into the game's mechanics, like upgrading your weapons, trying out new weapons, finding out what fits you, so you can defeat this enemy, because you really need to be careful and like familiar with your weapon to defeat him. So yeah, I guess like yeah, Bell Gargoyles are A tier. So next up is the Capra Demon. Capra Demon is a C tier boss fight because Capra Demon is not hard at all. It's his arena that works in his favor. But the thing that really pisses me off are the two dogs inside the arena. Like without those two dogs, this is really not a boss fight to write home about, because the Capra Demon is really easy and he's really slow, so you can just avoid his attacks really easily. And you can kite him around his own arena by climbing up the stairs and then falling down, so when he falls down you can get a free attack in, and stuff like that. So yeah, like Capra Demon is really not hard, it's just those two dogs that make it fucking impossible. So the reason he is C is not just because of like him being a boring boss, but also I really hate those two dogs, especially that whole entire hallway walkway area before you get to the Capra Demon, because that area is cancer. I have died so many times in that area before even I got to the boss, and during my first playthrough when I did get to the boss I would die very quickly, and that pissed me off so bad that I the first time I played the game, after like few hours of attempts, I was like, I'm not playing this game and I quit. And I came back a few days later and then I proceeded to complete the game. I would say Capra Demon is C tier. Now Ceaseless Discharge. is honestly a Shadow Realm candidate because I haven't I in all the three times I've fought Ceaseless Discharge. The first time, all he did was just slam his fist down and bring that like fire explosion wave, and all I had to do was just roll to one side and then roll to the other side and then hit him, then roll to one side, roll to the other side and then hit him. So he's just a really boring boss. He has a cool design and really cool lore, but the boss fight is just terrible. And on my second playthrough, I just cheesed him because I found out about the Ceaseless Discharge cheese. On the third playthrough, the same thing happened as my first playthrough, so I don't know what's happening here. So, you know what? Ceaseless is just a Shadow Realm tier. Like, literally, you can remove this boss and nothing would change. Just give me the lore about that creature and make him something in the background, and maybe have some other thing you need to do to get him out of the lava so the lava drains. Now, Centipede Demon is another Shadow Realm candidate because this boss is fucking terrible. He is so annoying to deal with because not only does he just stand there in the lava and like throw his fucking centipede hand at you, for some fucking reason he refuses to step forward. It frustrated me to no end that this guy just wouldn't come forward and sit in the lava where I can't come and hit him. He's just really annoying, and probably like playing through Lost Izalith had already like pissed me off with how lazy that area is. So I wasn't really in the mood to deal with more bullshit. So yeah, that's why like Centipede Demon is just terrible, and even when you get close to him, he just spams one move, which is jump up, fire, and then back down. So again, I would not mind if somebody removed this boss and just gave a different challenge to get the I forgot the name of the ring. Charred ring, orange charred ring. I don't remember. Shit. Now Chaos Winch. Now Chaos Witch Quailag. So Quailag, I honestly think is a pretty okay boss fight. Like the area, like the boss running to Quailag is certainly kinda annoying, but it's not a big deal at all. And the boss fight itself is just fine. It's just good, I guess. Like you have to pay attention to the arena because the spider part spews out lava, so you need to watch out and position yourself carefully, and you also need to watch out for Quailag's slashes. And like if you get away from her while she's doing like the horizontal slashes, she is going to switch to a thrust mid, and if you don't pay attention, you're gonna get impaled. And I just think that's cool, like the fact the boss can react, especially in Dark Souls 1 that way. So I just think that's cool. And if you get too close to her and you're like wailing on her from like behind, or from an area where she can't slash you, she can the spider part can like stomp on you, and also she can do like the fire wave move, like which blasts you and like basically like one shots you. So you need to be careful, patient, and like really uh, watch the boss carefully. I think it's a pretty okay boss fight, I guess. So like B tier. Not okay, it's a good boss fight. Like okay would be like Capra Demon. Now Priscilla. Priscilla, I would say like K boss fight again. Like it's a cool gimmick of her going invincible and having to track her through her footprints in the snow, but maybe I was over leveled or something because I beat her pretty quick every single time, and I didn't really care, to be honest, about the boss fight. It wasn't fun or anything, it was just, oh, boss fight. So yeah, that's why she's there. Although yeah, the lore behind her is pretty cool, and the painted world, everything. So yeah, C tier, okay boss fight. Okay, Gwendolyn is a E tier boss fight. I really hate his gimmick of just running away and like sending projectiles after you. It's just I just don't enjoy it. I don't really feel tense or like engaged in the boss fight. I just feel like tedious. His boss fight feels really tedious. So Again, very cool lore with like An Orlando and everything. How City of the Gods has fallen, but Gwendolyn is there, like keeping up the illusion and everything. It's a cool idea behind a boss, but the execution is just eh. So yeah, Gwendolyn has to be E tier here. Now, Demon Fire Sage is a okay boss fight. He is a complete reskin of the Asylum Demon. He's a reskin of the Stray Demon. But yeah, like at the very least, compared to, in contrast to Asylum Demon, I actually have to pay attention during the Demon Fire Sage and Stray Demon fights. So like, let me just find Stray Demon. They're gonna be like right next to each other. Because yeah, both the Stray Demon and Demon Fire Sage are just okay as boss fights. Both the Demon Fire Sage and Stray Demon are like are better than the Asylum Demon, but they are still like just okay as bosses. At the very least, they get like that blast magic attack where you actually have to pay attention. You can't just like stick to the demon because you're gonna get blasted either when they hit the hammer in front of them or when they summon the blast to your location. So you actually have to pay attention. So at least it adds some tension to the fight and like keeps you engaged. So they're an okay boss fight, but even the reason they like uh, the reason like C to Shadow Realm tiers are like there is because I'm comparing these bosses to Dark Souls remastered bosses themselves. So I would argue like if I did a tier list of all the Souls game bosses, they would be so much lower. Yeah, so I don't really have much to say about both Fire Sage and Stray Demon. They're just as bosses. So now the Four Kings. I think Four Kings is a good fight, although it is weird that it's supposed to be four kings, but for whatever reason, like more than four kings spawn. Like I at some point I think like when I was fighting like the second last king, two more kings spawned. I was like, what the fuck? Like what like fractured state are you running? Why do you have so many kings? And it's just that's frustrating because especially I think during my first or second playthrough, I died to four kings because like much more of them spawned, and that shit is just really hard to keep track of. The lore behind the Abyss and like what happened to New Londo is really cool and like interesting. So like that definitely boosts the Four Kings spot and like their mystery behind them and their majesty, because like the lore behind a boss is also important to me when it comes to like rating their boss fights too, because like that act adds to the tension or that it adds to like the emotional weight behind actually beating that boss. So that's why like I would rate Four Kings as a good boss and like of Quailag and everything. But I it their boss fight is not exactly like engaging as much as it is like just a straight DPS check. Like I need to kill one king before the next spawn, so like that I can't really explain it. I just don't feel tense during this fight because of good reasons, I guess. It just feels like a checklist of things I need to do. I need to have a weapon that passes the DPS check so I don't have to fight multiple kings at the same time. So the next is the Gaping Dragon. The Gaping Dragon I mean, it's not a Shadow Realm. I would say it's definitely one of the worst bosses of this game. Probably like last second to the worst boss in this game. So the Gaping Dragon is just such a boring fight because all you have to do is just stay to either side of him whenever he charges, and you can just attack him from behind and like dodge, and then he will fly up, he will turn around, and then you do the same thing all over again. He's a very boring boss with a fuck tons of health. So not only is he boring in his mechanics, he's also boring in the fact it takes a long time to kill him. Like I don't know, I think my weapons were like good at the time. I was using like a +5 or like more than a +5 Zweihander. So I don't know like why they have given him so much health while he's such a boring boss. And the weird thing with him is like his weird glitchy grab attack, where if you're just at his front, he will skip all semblance of an attack animation and just immediately grab you in one frame and throw you. I lost my first try on this boss due to this, and that made me so goddamn mad because I had a lot of souls at that point, and I was just like, you know what, I'll just knock this guy out in one try because he's such a boring boss and everything. So yeah, that happened. So it just really soured my mood. And he's just like a really bowling, sorry, and he's just a really boring boss. So what else can I say? Yeah, ET for Gaping Dragon. Now Sif, I would put in like top of E tier because uh, in none of like the three playthroughs I've done has he ever been challenging, and it's just really easy to just get under him and keep attacking him, and he doesn't really have an answer for that. Can't really hit you. He can maybe reposition himself, but then you can go back in again and do the same. He is not challenging at all, and you know what? I'll put him lowest in D tier because of the lore. Um, the fact that the cutscene changes if you do the DLC before fighting Sif is really cool. That he recognizes you and wants to stop you from getting the Covenant because he doesn't want another one of his friends to succumb to the abyss. It's just really cool. And, well, you know what? Sif gets brownie points because he's a dog. Oh, sorry, wait. It's a she. Sif is a she. Sorry. So yeah, so Sif should gets like a boost because of her lore and everything. So yeah, bottom of D tier. Even though she's a boring boss fight, she has cool lore, and the fact she recognizes you and doesn't want you to do this because she cares for you is just, yeah, it adds an emotional weight to this fight. Now Gwen. Gwen, I would say, is a A tier boss, even though you can cheese him with like the parrying and stuff. But without doing that, just like not parrying him, the boss fight becomes like kind of very stressful because he's so goddamn fast. Like if he hits you, you cannot heal for the life of you because he will keep chasing you. You need to be really careful when you heal because whenever you like try to heal, he might just, you know, zip to you and like slash the shit out of you. So when I was fighting Gwyn in like my first two playthroughs, I did not cheese him at all. I just fought him without parrying him, and that though both those fights were really like stressful, and they were, it felt really rewarding because I didn't think the boss fight was unfair. I just needed to, you know, lock in and dodge and everything properly and not panic heal or panic roll. So I think he's a cool final boss. I would say, yeah, he's 80, especially with oh yeah, I would give Gwyn brownie points because the boss run to Gwyn rather long, but it's still so cool because the kiln of the first flame is such a cool location, because just entering this location, it feels so cathartic to the entire experience you've had, all the struggles you've faced in this game. And not only does this place hold so much emotional weight, it also looks beautiful. Especially when you enter it, you see the souls of the Black Knights who followed Gwyn to the kiln for the reigniting of the first flame, and you see them still serving their master, guarding the kiln of the first flame, and staying with him until the end, I guess. And the entire area just has so much aura, I guess, and it feels so cool to walk through this area. It feels like you're standing amongst giants, like people, so much suffering uh, has so much suffering has had to be endured for you to come to this place, and now you are going to fight the Lord of Sunlight, the man who started it all, and you need to make a really crucial decision. Are you going to reignite the first flame, or are you going to beckon in the age of darkness? So yeah, so the location gives this boss fight a boost, and also the music. Like, I know the plin plin plon music is a meme, but it does sound really cool and fits this boss fight and this moment. So yeah, I would say Gwyn is A tier. And on the topic of soundtracks, Bell Gargoyle soundtrack is also like really really cool. So is like the Four Kings soundtrack, and even the Asylum Demon soundtrack, from if I'm remembering right, is like really cool. So on to Iron Golem. Iron Golem is, I would say, better than all of these. So like top of C tier, because Iron Golem, at the very least you need to pay attention. He can, although I do think his grab attack is kinda bogus because he can sometimes grab you when you are clearly much behind his leg, and it's really annoying to deal with that, especially when he throws you off the goddamn cliff. And yeah, although his fight is just really boring, I would say he's not a cool boss, I guess. Like, I don't find anything about his boss fight or his lore noteworthy, or unless I'm remembering wrong, or unless I just don't know his lore. But from what I know, he just seems really boring. So yeah, just I don't care for this boss. It's better than these because at the very least I had to pay attention. So now next up is Moonlight Butterfly. Moonlight Butterfly, I really want to put it into Shadow Realm, because why would you put this boss fight here? Especially when its attacks are so goddamn bullshit. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot because I can't seem to like dodge its attacks consistently enough. Because the first like half of the fight is fine, like I am dodging everything fine, but then something just changes where its attacks just like become so unbearable, and it's so rough that he's a early game boss, because I kept trying to beat him for so long and never did it feel not satisfactory. It felt unfair that I died to this fucker so many times, because it's such a boring boss fight. The music is beautiful, but the boss fight is so goddamn boring, and I just did not like this boss fight. And I will say I did not have the patience to go back and buy a bow, so I just kept continuing it with melee weapons. And I just wanted this boss fight to end, because even if I did get the bow, this boss fight would still be this low because it's just so boring. So yeah, that, you know what, fuck it. I'll be hateful here and I'll put the Moonlight Butterfly in Shadow Realm. So now Nito. Nito, I would say, is a better fight than no, he's not. The problem with Nito is that his design is really cool, and the lore behind him is so goddamn cool, with him administering death and, you know, like just chilling in the Tomb of the Giants, administering death, and like offering you a covenant and giving you a really sick sword and everything. But everything before Nito and during Nito is cancer. It is literal cancer. I cannot tell you the amount of stress I've faced while I was in the catacombs and Tomb of the Giants, but I guess that's a topic for another time. So even getting to Nito is so goddamn frustrating, and then in the Nito arena, unless you have a divine weapon, you will need to continuously fight like these skeletons and like giants, and that's, even though I guess that's lore accurate and that makes sense why that would be there, it's just so goddamn frustrating. And again, I am not I'm not gonna deny that this is incredibly subjective. So the very fact that I did not get a divine weapon, even though I knew I should have gotten one, we might contribute, is definitely contributing to the fact that I'm putting Nito kinda low, I guess, because I think people think he's a cool boss fight. Because he is a cool boss fight, but I'm knocking him down a peg because that those extra skeletons and like giant bullshit, I just don't like it. When bosses use like minions like these, I'm like, you're a boss creature, man. Act like it. Face me one on one, kind of thing. So yeah, even though Nito is really cool, his minions knock him down a peg, and yeah, so there I would place Nito right in the middle of B tier. So Ornstein and Smo. Now this is a really good boss fight. And I would put it, I think, top of A tier, because I even in my first playthrough, I did not feel like unfair or like really stressed about this boss fight. Even though I was dying a lot, it never made me feel like it was unfair. Even though I know it's a meme, like how their AI is so dumb and it can fuck you up if they decide to stay together a lot of the time. But in none of my 3 playthroughs have I had a problem fighting Ornstein and Smo. It was always just like a matter of skill. Okay, I wasn't patient enough to get this W, everything. And they just work so well together because you can decide to pick either one off. I always choose to kill Ornstein first because I think Super Smo is much easier than Super Ornstein. So killing Ornstein is kind of, if you know how to kite around Smo and just get far enough so that Ornstein can follow you, so you can get off an attack, everything. So you playing this fight strategically is kind of important. So I really just love that. And also the soundtrack, I love the Ornstein and Smo soundtrack. It just fits Anor Londo and like both of these bosses so goddamn well, and it really does feel like an epic showdown. And I'm just sad like this was like the halfway point of the game, because everything up to this point was so good, and then you get lost Izalith and the Tomb of the Giants. So yeah, like Ornstein and Smo, it's just a fantastic boss fight, and I really love it. I have never felt there was a problem with this boss fight. So now Pinwheel. Before that, also more things about Ornstein and Smo. I just really like it that you can see their personality just like with their gestures in the cutscene. Because if you kill Ornstein first, Smo immediately kills Ornstein to absorb his powers, even though like you can see Ornstein's hand twitching, I think, in the cutscene. So he is alive, he may be able to be saved, but Smo just immediately kills him and absorbs his power. Like it just gives characterization to like Smo and really fits with his lore and everything. And even if you don't know his lore, like that gives you an idea of what kind of a man Smo is. And then you have Ornstein. If you kill Smo first, Ornstein will like honor his comrade and like first see if he's actually really dead, then honor him and then absorb his power. So like that gives you a pretty good idea of what kind of man Ornstein is. So it's just a really cool boss fight, and I love it. Like the music, the fight, and everything, the cutscene, the lore implications, and everything. So now on to Pinwheel. Pinwheel is a interesting concept for a boss, and he does have like interesting lore behind him, and like why he is the way he is, the creepy thing behind like his family stuff, and why he has the right of kindling and everything. But still, like, he's such a easy boss for someone in the catacombs, because no one is going to make that far into the catacombs early game where he might actually prove to be a challenge. So just he is like, not fuck it, E tier. Okay, now Seath. Seath is top of E tier. Actually, you know what? I'm making an executive decision. Demon, Fire Sage, and Stray Demon are getting moved here. And Seath is going to be bottom of C. Actually, not bottom. I'd say better than Priscilla. Less than Iron Golem, because Seath's boss fight, again, it's just like a very generic formula of go back. He will do a close attack. Go in. You can, when he does a close attack, you can go far out, and when he does a far attack, you can go back in and hit him, and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And God forbid you actually accidentally get behind him. That tail attack is so goddamn bullshit. I've only been killed by it like once or twice. I did not I could not for the life of me figure out how to dodge it. So you know what? Fuck it. Lack of information. So I'll just call it bullshit. So Taurus Demon is like pretty good, I would say. I would rank him higher than Iron Golem, to be honest, because even though Taurus Demon is simple, he works. I guess like the arena really fits his boss fight because you need to be careful not to roll off the goddamn edge, and the fact that he can jump off the bridge himself is so funny. That happened to me in my first playthrough, and it was so goddamn funny to see. And I just really love it, and the fact that you can enter the arena and not check behind you and get shot full of arrows while a boss is chasing you. So yeah, you can like go on up, clear the archers, and then go back down. And I kind of worked my brain around this fight in the sense that, damn, it's really tough to fight him on the bridge. So why don't I just go up and then plunging attack him? I did not know that he could climb up onto the tower itself, because I always used to just like in my second playthrough and like this playthrough. On my first playthrough, I just beat him on the bridge. Well, I didn't beat him. He just fell off the goddamn bridge. And on my second and third playthrough, I just used to climb up, plunging attack him, then climb back up again, and then plunging attack him. So I did not know he could actually jump up onto the watchtower and fight you. I think that's the proper way, like intended way to fight the Taurus Demon, but I just never discovered it. I discovered it through like videos and like watching Lil Aggie's videos and everything. So, okay, the Bed of Chaos. This cancer ass boss is the worst boss I've ever fought in any game, to be honest. The Bed of Chaos is such a bullshit boss because it's not really a boss fight, it's a platforming game in a game not intended to be one. And it's just so bullshit. And like recently I saw a YouTube short where it showed the hitboxes for the Bed of Chaos, and it's just so far out from like his actual hand. It is so infuriating to see because the amount of times it just knocked me off. And it is annoying for so many different things, because not only it's a really like long boss run to get back, it's also the fact that you need to equip the orange charred ring. Like one of your ring slot is occupied before you can climb up onto the tower thingy. So you need to, if you want to have another ring, you need to go there and then change a ring and then go back and then go ahead, fight, and most definitely die to the Bed of Chaos because it's bullshit. Then come back and then change into the orange ring again, go to the tree, then change back and then rinse and repeat. It's just so bullshit. So I just never bothered to change a ring, and I just did it while I was like heavy. I guess I was in mid or heavy roll without Havel's ring. Did it like that because the other ring I had equipped was the Fap ring, so I couldn't really take that off. So yeah, Bed of Chaos is just like absolute cancer of a boss. I've never cheesed Bed of Chaos because I just never bothered to. It just feels like, I don't know, I'm just lazy, I guess, to learn that cheese. So I never really learned it, and I've always just done it with trial and error, like every single time. So now the next boss is Artorias the Abyss Walker. Here is the S tier boss in this game, because Artorias, everything about him is just amazing, absolutely amazing. Because not only is his like moveset really cool looking and also like just challenging to deal with, but it never feels unfair. His arena is cool. The lore behind him is so goddamn cool. The fact that before succumbing to the abyss, he broke his left arm so that if he does succumb to the abyss, like people can actually defeat him. The fact that he saves Civ by leaving his great shield behind, and then he comes back up and he fights us. His aggressive playstyle is just so cool, and you need to really be on your toes every single time, because a single mistake can cost you the entire fight and still not feel unfair at all. You lose to this guy and you'll be like, you know what, my bad. And everything. And like even after you defeat Artorias, you get like the cool story with Kiran, I think is her name. Kiran coming to ask for Artorias' soul, and Goff telling you more about Artorias and like doing you a favor for like um, resting Artorias' soul and everything. So like Artorias is like the best boss fight in Dark Souls Remastered. So moving on, Calamite. I don't really know where to put Calamite because I this boss fight is really good and everything, but the boss run back, like the run back is so annoying, and sometimes Calamite will just decide to use like the most infuriating moves like in a row, and it's really annoying. But also like his swipe attacks with his like face and everything are just like really weird. I don't know, maybe I just haven't found the way to dodge them, but whenever I dodge them it's like a 50-50 shot I'm gonna get hit anyway and everything. But it is still like a cool boss fight, and like the music is really cool, and the scene with Goff shooting him out of the sky and everything is really cool. The lore behind Calamity is kind of cool too, with like him being one of the like ancient dragons, and even Anor Londo fearing Calamite because like one of the reasons might be because he's really resistant to lightning. So yeah, like Gwyn's bolt probably won't work as well on Calamite, I guess. So next up is Manus. Manus is probably better than Bel Gargoyles, but I would say worse than Gwyn. Maybe I'm not sure about the placement of these two, but they're around each other. That's what I know. Manus is like everything again, like similar to Artorias. Manus is just amazing with his lore implication, the music, and is his design is so goddamn cool, and the way uh, his eyes like shine through the darkness, and just he's so menacing. It is amazing, and his arena is so goddamn cool. And Manus, his lore implication of like him maybe being the furtive pygmy and being the father of the abyss, how the denizens of Ulasil disturbed his grave, so he came to take back his amulet, which was probably pillaged from his grave. And from what I remember, like Darkstalker Kath was involved in his in this thing because he's the one that led to the fall of New Londo. And I don't remember who says this line. It's either Chester or maybe Elizabeth was her name. That tells us that the serpent, it was the serpent's fault that this happened, or like how the serpent encouraged the townsfolk to do this, everything. So yeah, that. And Spite is really cool, but I kind of feel like he is way too aggressive and way too fast to be a Dark Souls 1 boss. I don't know how people beat him with like a dex build, because he is so goddamn aggressive. I don't know if I'll be able to like dodge all his attacks and everything. So I just, like put on Havel's armor, get a really heavy shield, and then just chip away at him while I block his attacks and back away whenever he does that flurry of his like his flurry combo, everything. So again, really good boss fight, but I kind of feel like he's a bit unfair, especially if you don't get the pendant. Because I don't know how you deal with his like humanity shotgun if you don't have the pendant. And like he shoots out humanity and it comes back. I don't know how you deal with that either. Like you can heal through like the humanity meteors that fall out from like the ceiling, but anything else I think is just an insta kill. So yeah, that's kind of a thing. So final boss being Sanctuary Guardian. Sanctuary Guardian is another boss. Although not as strongly as Manus, he is too aggressive to be a boss of this slow of a game. So I would still put him ahead of Four Kings and Nito. Even though like his boss fight kinda annoys me with how fast everything happens and all. But still he is a good boss, I would say. So this is my list. This is roughly how I would rank the bosses. My number one is mine. Like top two are probably not gonna change, but the rest of the list might change a bit if I really sit down and think about it. But these are my thoughts on the bosses in Dark Souls 1. And if you want, you can leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to chat about Dark Souls with people. It is one of my favorite game franchises of all time. So if you have any thoughts, please drop them down below. So until next time, see you.